crude oil price has gone up. Before now, it was around 78, 79 per dollar. Today it's above 90. And those also drives the price of refined product. So there's no way the government will leave it to be bought by only the masses. So try to cushion the effect. Not that they have intervened completely, just to bridge the gap on the exchange rate.
All right, so let's look at it. If you can give us further explanation. Say for a barrel, how much subsidy or how much intervention you think the government is giving now if we look at what the cost is for a barrel of crude and what the landing cost would be for a barrel? What would you say is how much percentage intervention the government is making? And how
if we take the difference from the pronounced landing cost of 720 to the GMS, the pump price at the fuel station,
yes,
you will get the difference. We are buying at around 600 and something now.
651.
And the landing cost for what the NPC have expected is about 720. So that is exactly what they are trying to cushion for now.
All right, well said. Could that be responsible then for why we do not have the product? Because most recently, I mean, I tried getting petrol yesterday, and we discovered that most of the filling stations are shut down. We also had spoke to Petron, and Petron had also said, well, the situation with the economy is making members move away from this business and shutting down their filling stations, some even deciding to sell. So if there is this idea that the government is intervening without public knowledge, because I don't know if this is official. Was it official? Was there a conversation between PENGASSAN, the government, or any other industry stakeholders before the government decided to do this? Or you just think it's being done underground?
Well, the government need to come clean. The whole cloud surrounding what they are doing should be explained to the Nigerians. So we need to tell them the truth. That's why we are the labor union. They are subsidizing the product, so they need to come to tell Nigerians that they are doing that, and they send to those who are the stakeholders to know that this is what they are doing.
If they are subsidizing, go ahead.
For the scarcity, it's about speculation. Because the product landing cost has increased, the marketers will always do what they are doing. So it's expected that the scarcity green entry stage will be there, but there is no clear reason for that.
Don't you see a contrast or a confusion in this? If the landing cost is what the government is intervening on, at the moment, how much is the landing cost for a barrel of crude?
We are discussing the refined product here.
Yeah, so the refined product, I beg your pardon. The refined product. What is the landing cost to clear this? Because if we're saying that, well, the government is intervening in some form, and that is why the price is not as high as it naturally should get if we just depend solely on the market forces. How does it explain the fact that we still do not have the product, and marketers are saying that they can't afford to get it because it's quite expensive?
You know, the marketers will always give you reasons for ordering the product and then do what they are doing. I'll explain to you, the landing cost, the difference between the landing cost and what we buy at the open stations is what the government is trying to subsidize. So that does not translate to scarcity of product. I can tell you there's no scarcity of product anywhere in the country.
So we still have individuals now importing the products themselves, or is it still solely the responsibility of the NPC? Because the last time there's been conversations that we should have individuals, private individuals, get licenses, and the reports of some licenses that would have been granted. So now, can you tell us whether we have multiple players in the industry who can now import this product and source for the product directly? And when they do so, are they at will to sell according to how much they bought at the international market?
There are multiple players, but there is still a regulation and control. If the government does not regulate what they bring in and how much they sell to masses, we will be left at the mercy of the marketers. There are multiple players, but there are still regulations. But that is the job of an NPC to ensure that there is a balance for what they are bringing and what they are selling and with the quality. There is still regulation, so but there are multiple players. I can tell you that.
Right, but still a lot more to talk about. Even if we have a short commercial in the matter of a moment, just stay with us. Quickly, let me remind the listener, if you want to be a part of this and you have questions you want to ask, now would be a perfect time to do that. The WhatsApp number is 0809 030 6416. Again, 0809 030 6416. That is the WhatsApp number. I am speaking with PENGASSAN's Zonal Chairman, Portharcourt Zone, George Nwoko, via phone this morning. And if you've been following the conversation, you must have heard him trying to explain to us the mathematics behind the price of petrol and this, in quote, sort of intervention that the government is trying to make to keep the price stable, and why, despite that intervention, the price is not as low as many of us we expect that it should be, simply because market forces are not allowed to control, which if market forces are allowed, the price would be higher than what it is that we're buying at the pump stations. So let us know what questions you would have or what contributions you're making. On Facebook, we're asking you to tell us whether at this point you are still concerned about the federal government paying petrol subsidy or not. Does it still bother you? Are you concerned about it at this point? We would like you to share that knowledge with us. Interesting. Mr. Nwoko, back to you. We'll come back to the petrol subsidy and we need you to give us more explanation. But moving forward a bit, the diesel, the government had mentioned removal of VAT from diesel. Mr. Nwoko, can you hear me?
Very well.
All right. So it said the government has announced the removal of VAT from diesel, and it's for 6 months, beginning from when it was announced. What is the situation with that at the moment?
Those are part of the negotiation. We are still there is still ongoing between the labor unions and the management and the government. Sorry, there are so many proposals on the table. What we are discussing and then trying to fine tune the way forward on the impact of such over the masses. We requested for some of these parameters. One of them was the removal of VAT on diesel, so that the industry players, the companies, the private individuals can have a breath of fresh air. So that so government has to put those intervention period for 6 months. So while we are still discussing on the framework for the subsidy removal exclusion in itself. So that's the reason for the VAT exclusion for now.
All right. When we come back after the commercial, you will tell us whether we have enough production for diesel to meet the needs and demands of the manufacturers and industry players, because reports are most institutions, organizations, industry players run their business using illegally refined diesel. That would be our next question when we return. Please stay on the line for us.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this commercial. Morning Crossfire. My guest is the PENGASSAN Zonal Chairman, Portharcourt Zone, George Nwoko. My name is Ifeemi Andrew, if you just tuned in too, and we're looking at the reports that we're hearing from the national leadership of PENGASSAN with regards to the removal of petrol subsidy, and also the government announcement of the removal of VAT on diesel. Has that been effected? What is the delay? How does that in turn affect the economy? Or some of these and more we're going to hear from my guest. In the meantime, are you concerned at this point on whether the government is still paying subsidy or removing subsidy? Is that something that concerns you? Are you bothered about it? On Facebook, Nigeria Info 92.3 PH, we need to know from you. And WhatsApp number is 0809-030-6416. Hector Chris says, is this APC federal government confused? The same people earlier told Nigerians subsidy is a scam and it does not exist. The same came and told us they removed subsidy. Now the same coming to us, they are bringing subsidy back. Why the back and forth? Stephen Ndubisi says, I'll repeat it, there is nothing like subsidy. It is increase of petrol price and nothing else. Well, my guest will give us more insight into this. As I'm aware, a lot of people have questions. So I'll go on to WhatsApp and take a few messages before we get on. I bought petrol yesterday at 599 naira. Many stations are selling for 605 and even more. So where is the government subsidy or intervention? Now, if I would say something to you, the idea is it is because of that intervention. The intervention is the reason why you're still buying at this price. That is exactly what PENGASSAN is trying to say. Let me get back to my guest. Mr. Nwoko, thank you for staying on the line for us. So I'd like you to listen to this message and perhaps if you can explain so we get an understanding of this. So this listener says he bought petrol at 599 naira in some stations and other places he bought at 605 naira and even more. So he's wondering where this government intervention or subsidy is coming from if he's still buying at this price. Can you explain to those of us who might not have a proper understanding? If the intervention is on and then the landing cost differential has been taken on by the government, should we expect a reduction in the price, or it is the reason why we are buying at the price we are buying now?
The price we are buying now is as the result of the intervention government is doing. If there was none of that, we will buy more. I explained to you earlier, the NMPs have announced that the landing cost is above 750 naira. And so we look at the difference. That is actually the impact of what government is doing. And I also have said it earlier, the only way the subsidy removal will not have impact on us is if we are running locally and the forex is stable. The forex is stable, we can project that the next 3 months the price will be the same, and then we'll be able to, or if the dollar exchange forex is coming down, maybe around 600 or 550, then you see that the price will be stable or there will be a decline in the price. But for the fact that the way our forex is floating, it doesn't give anybody the comfort to buy at the same rate and go back, sell and go back to purchase at the same rate again. So that is the reason why we are buying at this different rate.
All right. Not to sound like an old song, I still need to put the question in this perspective because I need you to explain some details. Just for the layman to understand, to give us a better picture of this. When the interventions are being made for the landing cost, who does the government pay to? For instance, if I'm an importer of this product, I've sourced it, and it arrives at the port, I'm supposed to pay my landing cost, right? If I'm doing that on my own. Hello, Mr. Nwoko.
Those are done at the NMPC level. They don't speak for the government.
Okay.
They know how they work out their differences and how they pay to the marketers. There are licensed marketers. There are the parameters are there. They work out the difference and how they pay them. Those are the regulations too. Because if you allow them to import, sell directly, you will see them selling above 720. So the government has a way of regulating.
So in other words, you're saying that there might be some secret arrangements between some marketers and the government, and then it's being kept secret. So we have no idea what intervention and how much level of intervention is being made. Because if I'm a business person and this is being done, I should know. owing to the fact that I need to reflect the cost I have spent in getting this product in how much I'm selling it. So if that is not there, it means somebody is having some sort of conversation with the government and getting this payment somehow. Is that the implication?
In recent times, the only voice the masses have is the organized level. Those are the questions the masses need to put onto the government. If there are some secrecies surrounding it, they need to come and claim. It's our duty to know. They need to explain to us. We elected them. It's only the labor unions that are at the front runner asking these questions and then getting to push for the masses. We need to know what are they doing. We need to ask the questions from every sector. So the government needs to come and claim to tell us what they are doing. The secrecy surrounding it is uncalled for.
Okay. For diesel now, how soon are we seeing this implementation? It's for 6 months. That's the period for which this VAT is supposed to be removed. And what's the idea behind the 6 months? Well, we have no idea. Perhaps PENGASSAN must have an idea why the government chose to make it 6 months, or were they talks to see that the VAT removal become permanent on diesel, I mean?
You know, the post-subsidy removal discussions are still ongoing. But we want the government to do something that in the interim, while the things are going, the masses is not left to suffer. That was brought about the VAT removal. So the time period given is to enable us to keep on fine-tuning the framework and come out with a more, the medium-term effect, long-term effect. So those are being discussed at the committee level. So that is the 6 months is just to give room while the discussions are going on. People should not allow to suffer.
Okay, so are we counting the 6 months from now, owing to the fact that
from the pronouncement, yes.
But from the reports we've got, diesel, the VAT on diesel still remains. So if we're counting from now, then there's a problem, which means we might have to go some months without the VAT removal. How is PENGASSAN looking at this?
Well, if you flag up an issue, as you just said now, we'll take it up from there. We'll have a clear evidence, and that those are not implemented. The union will take it up from there with the government.
So
we need to not rely on rumors. We need to have a clear evidence that the VAT have not been removed, and then we can take it up.
So from the perspective of PENGASSAN so far, you are sure that the VAT on diesel have been removed?
For government pronouncement, VAT on diesel has been removed.
But PENGASSAN has not verified.
That's why I told you, if there are areas where people have evidence that the VAT is still not removed, they should let us.
Okay. The River State chairman of Petroleum, Francis Dinkba, this is what he has said. He said that the federal government has not implemented the proposed removal of VAT on diesel. I'd like you to listen to what he said so we can get a response from you with regards to that. Our correspondent had a conversation with him via phone, and this was what he said with regards to the VAT removal on diesel.
We are expecting them to effect it because as I speak to you, diesel is selling at over 1,000 naira per liter. If they have removed it, we should be able to buy diesel. That is what I'm telling you, over 1,000 naira per liter is at the depot. So if they have removed the VAT, we're expecting diesel to come back to normalcy, at least about 600 naira per liter or even less, or thereabout. Direct foreign exchange. We little antennas, it has not impacted on us. We have not seen any impact of such.
All right, so Mr. Nwoko, you heard him there saying that at the depots, they're still buying this product for 1,000 naira, which means when they want to sell, it has to be something over 1,000 naira, clearly stating that VAT has still not been removed. So is PENGASSAN concerned? What's the way forward?
Yeah, I'm concerned. Have buying it at 1,000 naira and the VAT not moved as two different things. So maybe we need to look at it again with them and then see what the issues are. The cost of buying it and then explain that VAT are not removed does not actually clearly state that.
So what could be the reason why? What could be the reason why one could buy for 1,000 naira even though VAT has been removed? Are there certain situations that could lead to that?
It is something. Remember, before now we have the refineries now, and we used to have illegal refinery all over the place. I think there has been a reduction since the military intervention. So the product is purely imported. So we need to know that that's the same thing we are discussing about the PMS, the cost of the forex exchange, and we also affect it. So.
You brought up production of the product, which brings me to my next question. AGO, as it is for many people in this country, the reports we get from our investigations would be that lots of organizations, including some government organizations, use AGOs from illegally refined sources. And some of the filling stations don't even have the product to dispense. Do you think we have enough import of this to meet the demand? Or would people still have to go to the illegal market to buy? And is that why perhaps we're still seeing what we're seeing, where the VAT implementation is not showing as it ought to, simply because people are having to buy from alternate sources due to maybe unavailability or not enough diesel to meet the needs of people?
You can agree with me that we use more PMS than AGO in the country, and we don't refine PMS locally. So I will still have enough to satisfy the demand. So the imported product of AGO is enough. They should encourage people to continue to vandalize the pipelines and then steal the crude and refine locally and then sell to organizations. We must be patriotic as Nigerians. So we must stand with the government when need be to ensure that the right things are done always. So the product in the country is enough to satisfy the industry.
Okay, well, we'll open the phone lines and we'll take some messages so you respond to them. The numbers to call are 0817-923-0007. Again, 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0003. Either of these numbers to get access to us in the studio. Ask your questions and my guest will respond, or make your contribution. Remember, on Facebook, it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. We're asking whether at this point you are still concerned or bothered on whether the government is paying petrol subsidy or not. Let us know. On WhatsApp, King Alozie from Portharcourt says, who is in charge of the landing cost? Who influences and regulates the landing cost? If the answer is the government, at this critical time, more increase on petroleum product will bring more hardship. Another person says petrol is 618 naira in 4 petrol stations this morning. Another one here says, this is Hector. I think we took this before. Okay, Hector, I think we've taken that before. This person just says, good morning, sir. Okay, let's listen to Robin, a caller from Ichie. Hello, Robin. Good morning.
Good morning, it's me, Andrew.
Okay, straight to the point, please.
Yes, on the issue of this fuel subsidy, I've had a position a long time ago, at Sabaka 2012, that subsidy is a scam. It's a means with which few people fleet our resources to themselves. You see me? When I was growing, the English or the grammars I'm hearing now were not in our political or economic lexicon, like landing costs. Why are they discussing landing costs? Have they told Nigerians, including me, the outing cost when they push this crude oil out of the country? How much they send it out of the country? We kept on hearing landing costs, landing costs. The only way we can be out of this quagmire we find ourselves in the hands of these few Nigerian politicians is when we get have our refineries functional. Without that, this is all stories. We'll continue to hear stories. Good morning, Brother Manda the farmer.
Okay, Braid is in Burokri. Braid, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. If you hear me.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, for me, there is no subsidy. Subsidy is a scam. The federal government just want to please IMF and the World Bank. Tell me, a country where I am buying fuel at the rate of 600 naira, I am paying for the subsidy. Now, federal government say they are paying subsidy. Where does that subsidy is going? If federal government is paying subsidy, I am not even supposed to buy fuel at the rate of 50 naira. Even at 100 naira, at 200 naira, they are making a gain of close to 100 naira. Who are the people that is having the subsidy? Which are the company? Let them tell us. Let us check and know that that these are the companies that subsidy is being given. The federal government should not be cowing Nigeria, and they should be able to repair our refinery. How many crudes are they taking to the international community? Where are the landing costs of those crudes? They should give account of those money also, because they will tell us landing costs. 1970s, 80s, we don't know anything about landing costs. What is all this partner in this country?
Okay, Braid.
Nigeria, we should be able to save our souls ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Muriel is calling from Okrika. Muriel, good morning to you.
Good morning, Efemi. Thank you.
Okay, go
on.
on.
Okrika woman from Okrika. Look, Efemi, there is one thing I thank God for. That our government, they were able to build schools, and we were privileged and opportune to attend them. So when they bring out statements, we're able to read between the lines and understand easily. Look, Efemi, Buhari brought up this petroleum industrial bill. And with the exception of this bill, we were able to understand that NNPC, the name has changed to NNPCL. In other words, it has been privatized. So why are we still hearing federal government? Who are the people that are in charge of NNPCL? Why are they not coming out? If it has been privatized, why is the federal government still subsidizing it? And the second question is, if federal government is still subsidizing, and let's say it's the NNPC, no longer NNPCL, is it possible that they should control the price of PMS down? Naira, a little bit above 1,000, and we're buying fuel, and they're subsidizing again. They started subsidizing, and what is subsidizing? What percentage? Why are we still buying fuel now that dollar just shifted from just 800 to 200 to 1,000? Maybe let's say 200 and a $200 increase, and we are now buying petroleum at the enormous rate of 600 naira. What are the rhetorics? Can they come out? Can your guest explain this to us, Efeni? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Fubara is in Elelewon. Fubara, good morning. Okay. Zion in GRA, good morning to you.
And good morning to you.
All right, go on.
In law, that is what we call AFRI. And I want to liken the position of PENGASSAN and other trade unions attacking the federal government on this issue of subsidy presence. I will liken it to be AFRI. If because in the international market, prices have skyrocketed because of the FX, does not mean the landing cost will increase, does not mean that petrol products in Nigeria should also increase. Do they know? Have they been told if there is any secret agreement, a consensus between the federal government and the agencies at the ports? Are they aware? I found out that this PENGASSAN is like a provider wife who feels so upset because she's provoking her husband. The husband is not talking. She tends to do nothing to aggravate the husband by bringing out such a comment. Do you know that since July, multiple refineries owners are crying and begging for government intervention, and none of these agencies have ought to help multiple refineries owners to even see Mr. President to solve their problems. And now they are coming, they feel so jealous because of both products are still on the normal rate. Nigerians are going on their regular business. They are now coming on such a comment to incite the people against the government. I want to beg PENGASSAN and their agencies. For now, the federal government have no business with them. For now, the federal government has seen the loopholes. The federal government has seen people who are causing problems in the downstream and upstream sector, and the government has decided to employ a new dynamic so that Nigerians don't suffer. So I want to beg PENGASSAN to even withdraw their comment, because that their comment is so insightful. It shows that they don't love Nigerians.
All right, Zion. Let's go to Auda. Christian is on the line. Thank you, Zion. Christian, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Kim.
Morning.
Mr. Kim, you see, I blame the labor. That is why Nigerians are angry with Chelsea. They are there to represent us. They're not supposed to explain the federal government about palliative. They're supposed to meet the federal government about this fuel to repair the refinery so that everybody can benefit. When they're talking about palliative, some people get, some people don't get. Even the wages, they're not supposed to talk about wages of workers. What about the ones that are not working, that are buying this fuel now? See, I am not surprised of this fuel to skyrocket from 600 to 700 something, because right after 2 months ago, I had a rumor that the landing cost of this fuel is supposed to be 720 naira. But because of this government is confused, they first announced that they have removed the post subsidy without preparing anything. Now, as the dollar skyrocketed, no, the price of the fuel also skyrocketed, and the person behind I'm paying subsidy. Yeah. I blame the federal government. I also blame the labor.
All right, let's go to Leighton. Oh, I lost a call from Leighton Barry. Back to my guest, Mr. Nwoko. You heard the listeners, and you heard the complaints. Some of them were questions that we already asked. I would just want to add this: who gets the monies paid or generated from landing costs?
NNPC.
So, if the NNPC is the one who collects that money directly, is the NNPC still run by the government, or is it completely 100% a private entity?
NNPC is now a limited liability company, a private entity.
So how come?
But they also have the authority of the government to regulate the sector. So it's not there are so many. When you say NNPC, NNPC have different subsidiaries. Those in charge of marketing, the downstream regulation, the upstream authority. So it's not one company. Yeah.
But the point is there's no government. Should there be any government interference whatsoever, or is it solely a private-run entity at the moment, according to what the PIS said? Or are there certain percentages where the government would have influence on the activities of the NNPC? Because for many, we would even need to understand, for people who are listening, because if you listen to some of the calls, it will be people who don't even understand what the landing cost is and why it is there and why it cannot be removed, or why they cannot have some sort of negotiation to say, okay, we're not paying this, so that we don't have a need for marketers to add the cost of that into the sale of the product.
I don't blame those who said the 80s don't hear landing costs. But then the refineries were up and running. The products were refined locally here. Then we have the cost determined by our local production. So what are the differences?
What is the landing cost now? What does it mean when somebody says the landing cost for the purposes of our listener?
The landing cost is the cost of bringing the product from the country of refining to Nigeria at the depot. So before we now start to distribute to the people to sell to at the fuel station. So those are the considerations.
We need to understand
the cost of the cost to purchase the product, cargo into Nigeria, and then the other auxiliary charges.
So you pay for the product, and then you also have to pay for the landing cost of the product.
No, landing cost is a combination of what it takes to bring a product to the depot.
Okay. And locally, is that also something that could be likened to bridging cost? Because if we're producing locally, people will still need to move the product from where they are getting it to where they want to sell it.
Yeah, but it won't be the same cost of bringing the product from the country, India or whatever, to Nigeria. The difference would be to move from Portharcourt refinery to Aba depot, from Warri refinery to the depot in Benin, from Kaduna refinery to the depot in Kaduna. Those would be and most of them are going to go through the pipeline. So you now go to depot in Aba with your tankers to load.
Okay.
So the cost will be minimally low.
So as we wrap up, what suggestions would PENGASSAN give now to tackle this problem?
What we are still discussing. The subsidy removal committee are still discussing with the government. And you remember we suspended the strike and gave a 1 month grace period. So there are so many framework going on. So we need to have a mid-term, medium cushion effect, the long-term effect. So those are being worked out. And then PENGASSAN that they come burn out.
So we shouldn't expect any strike.
Pardon?
We shouldn't expect any protest or strike from PENGASSAN.
We have given a 1 month window, so we have to allow that to play out.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Nwoko, for your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We go for a commercial now. Good morning.
No panicking, the worry, they end today.